Welcome to Ouch. Was that a ghost? This podcast may contain graphic material which some listeners may find disturbing. Listener discretion is advised.
Help me.
Now that we covered that, here's your host, Liz.
Welcome back to Ouch, Was That a Ghost? Today I have with me the amazing Daisy.
No, I was just gonna giggle because it rhymed.
Oh yeah, it did.
Kinda, yeah, kinda.
A little slow, sorry. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you.
Absolutely, girl. Glad to be back.
Of course, and I thought we could discuss a pleasant topic.
Okay, all right. Uh-oh.
So, after you die, you, if you planned ahead, or your family have many options on what to do, right?
As far as
With the body.
like my burial?
Yeah, the burial.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
no. I prefer to be in the ground.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
like you said, in the ground is the traditional
Right.
burial where the body is prepared, washed, embalmed, dressed, put in a coffin or a casket.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes the family, however the family wants to set it up, and the casket's interred, and then there's a headstone or marker.
Uh-huh.
There's also the green burial option when the body is not embalmed and it's placed in this biodegradable casket or no casket at all and interred at these green cemeteries that they came out with. They have this thing called a tree burial. This one's kind of weird.
Okay.
You're placed in like a fetal position and a tree is planted on top of you. So you're basically the fertilizer.
I'm the shit. I'm literally the shit. I kind of like that. I think that's kind of cool.
It is, but kind of creepy at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, so they just throw you in there, dig a hole, and they just throw you in there.
Yeah. They also have one where they just decompose your body enough and turn you into mulch.
No. I rather just have them just throw me in there, let time do its thing. I think it's kind of poetic, because you're kind of returning to the earth.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving back to the earth. So that's kind of beautiful.
Leaving the daisy tree.
Yeah, I think that's something that I would consider.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that it's cheaper, right?
I'm not really sure. I know that regular burial is like out of control pricing,
It's ridiculous.
but some of these go nuts. I think that's why most people cremation is probably like the cheapest now.
Yeah, and even at that, it's still a little bit expensive because you got to buy the urn, and sometimes that can be kind of pricey. But
Yeah.
yeah, like my dad, he's like, no, I'd rather just be cremated. And my mom's like, no, you got to be buried. So there's always that conflict right there. But yeah, for me, being cremated, I'm not for that. I want to be buried.
Oh, it's terrible. If you ever watch a video on cremation, you're going to be like horrified.
You see? Oh God.
I don't
Yeah.
know why I watched one. I was just curious.
Oh my God.
There's also mushroom burial, which is when the body is buried in a certain suit that contains like mushroom spores and it helps naturally decompose the body faster.
Huh. All right.
They have the ones where you're placed in a mausoleum, like those above ground structures, which is a lot more popular in like New Orleans because the water levels, they could
Right.
cause some issues with burials.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I can see why.
There's cremation, like we talked about, which is, when the body is exposed to temperatures to reduce it to ashes, which is more popular now than it was years ago due to affordability, like we spoke about.
Right.
And the ashes can be buried in a cremation grave or scattered in a meaningful place, kept in an urn, like you just said, that was pretty pricey.
Right.
Well, some use the ashes to mix it with ink. I never thought of this, to make tattoos out of.
Ooh. Oh, that's kind of cool. I kind of dig that. But tattoos for who?
For like yourself. For like, you know what I mean? If a loved one.
Oh, okay. Okay, because I'm thinking of of a loved one. Oh, okay, all right. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and some use it to mix it with paint to make like art on canvases or the pressed into a diamond, which is kind of cool too, but that is also very pricey.
I can imagine. I can imagine.
And some prefer to have their ashes made into fireworks to go.
Go out with a bang. I'm going out with a bang.
And some people pay like to be shot out into space, like way out.
Yeah, it would have to be way up because it end up coming right back, wouldn't it?
I would think. Or you're just floating around somewhere. But some
Damn.
people also still do water burials or Viking burials, which I didn't even think that was still around.
Yeah, I don't want to get eaten by any kind of like ocean animals because that's just weird. No,
You more about the tree?
I like the tree. I definitely like the tree. Yeah, yeah. Ocean burial, unless it's ashes. You throw your ashes out into the sea.
Mm.
Too bad.
But there's tons of other options. But one of the options is to donate your body to science.
You know what? That just conjures up for me. It reminds me of what is that? Return of the Living Dead. Did you ever see that movie?
Years ago.
They're in that warehouse and that fucking cadaver comes back to life.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, no,
I
no.
remember that scene.
God damn, that was funny as hell. Yeah, no,
You're not down for that?
I don't want miss. Yeah, no, I wouldn't want somebody messing with my stuff. That's weird.
But strangely, some like scientific donations have really strict criteria. Like you have to be this weight, this height, this whatever, like have these things. But one that's more accepting of all shapes, sizes, ages, races is the Body Farm.
The Body Farm. Wow.
Have you ever heard of the Body Farm?
I've never heard of the Body Farm.
Well, that's what we're talking about today.
The Body Farm. Holy shit. Okay. All right. Let's talk about this.
Okay. These are forensic anthropology research facilities or body farms. They're research facilities where donated bodies are studied by forensic researchers to learn about the effect, different scenarios with different elements on human corpses. So they place the bodies outside. There are some inside facilities as well. There they
Okay.
can study the rate of decomposition and they can kind of control what temperature they're in and the humidity, to give a few examples.
Mm-hmm.
So at the farm, the bodies have been strewn about in various stages of decomposition.
Okay, so now what worries me is that it's called a farm. What are we growing here? Are we growing anything?
I think it just gained that nickname over the years, but it started back in the 1970s when Dr. William Bass, he was a forensic anthropologist, he was contacted by law enforcement multiple times to help on different cases. And he noticed that when law enforcement needed this information, finding bodies, there was this lack of knowledge of forensic taphonomy, which is what happens to a person from the time they die to the time they're found.
Oh, okay.
So he decided to make this secure place where human decomposition could be studied from the time of death to the time it was, found, I guess.
Oh shit. That is actually really okay. That's actually really cool.
He opened the first one in Knoxville, Tennessee. It was
Okay.
behind the University of Tennessee, the medical center where he worked. He was the head of anthropology program. Like he didn't just start one by himself. It was this big 2.5-acre plot of land.
Uh-huh.
And he got these unclaimed bodies were the first ones he got. And he started to like study the decay. He keep logs, meticulous notes on like how it broke down. He was able to see like what happens if it's exposed to putting a body underwater or in the trunk of a car, and how different scenarios accelerate or decelerate or have no effect on the rate of decomposition.
Oh wow. So they even have like a freezing environment.
They Yeah, I know that they do have freezers in some of the facilities. There's so many different facilities. I think there's 8 in the United States now. They have the one in Tennessee and Knoxville, and that like they have the FBI goes there to train to try to find and extract bodies.
God, that is so gruesome.
It's gruesome, but kind of important too. Like, he
No,
opened it and he only had one
absolutely.
body. I'm sorry, when he opened it, it was only a 16-foot square cage that he
Hmm.
used, and now it's a 2.5-acre plot.
So there's just bodies all over the place, just in various levels of decomposition.
Yeah, and in different, like, scenarios. And it's crazy, they get at the Tennessee one, they get over 100 donations every year, and they already have over 4,000 pre-registered donors.
Holy crap. That is crazy. I had no idea. You always wonder how, because I watch, a lot of, Law and Order kind of deals.
Mhm.
How can they figure out, the time of death, and that's fascinating that this is how it came about.
Yeah, and they opened one at, the second one was Western California University.
Hmm.
There, I guess if you donate one of your family members' skeletal remains, you can visit the skeletal remains,
Oh no, hard pass.
which that's a yeah, that's a tough one, but they do a lot of cadaver dog training there.
Oh, okay, that's really cool. Yeah, I can imagine that these places are probably somewhere where the smell isn't going to get out. That place must stink.
Well, they a lot of them are like a secure facility, then this other like plot of acres of land around them that is also fenced in, so you'd have to like get through layers of security. But each one is set up different size. The biggest one is in Texas, and that's
Mhm.
26 acres.
Holy crap! Wow.
And they're at the one in Texas, they have them in like trunks of cars and barrels and suitcases, bodies, and some are caged to protect them from like the animals,
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Wow.
and some left out in the direct sunlight, allowing animals full access to see the results, just in nature.
Yeah.
And they did have a vulture problem at that location when they opened. I'm not sure how they solved it, but I don't know. But I guess the heat in Texas gives information on how they would decompose in the western states in that heat. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
By having them in different areas, you get the different geographic.
Wow.
But it's crazy how they've already had at least 650 donors at the Texas State University facility, and they already have 1,000 pre-registered for future studies. And at each of these sites online, it's very easy to pre-register. I pulled up the paperwork just to see how it was.
So, so when you go to the DMV and you check off that box that it says, I would like to donate my body to science. Is that one of the places that it might go?
No, I think these ones you have to directly
Okay.
sign up for
That.
these ones. And your family can too.
Holy
And I guess if you're close enough to them, they'll pick you up, some of them for free, some for a small fee.
damn. Okay, my question: how long are these bodies laying there? I mean, when do they say, okay, that's enough? Let's. What do they do with the remains?
That's again varies. Some of them they keep the bones to like x-ray and see, they study like the cancer on the different bodies, and some they let go down to like cremations and fossilize, and
Wow.
each one has different like kind of
Hmm.
expertises that they zone in on. But all of it is good information, and some just like bury it and then they can practice excavating it. So, because there's so many like effects around the body, like the acidity in the soil from having a body sitting there, it would change it.
Right, and I'm guessing that depending on where what soil where the body was buried at, it would make a difference, right?
Absolutely. That's why like they have a Florida location that's the only subtropical location, and then they have, yeah, I mean, the elevation, the temperature, the humidity, everything changes it.
That there have been instances where a body, uh, you know, the murder happens or whatever, and the body is moved after a certain amount of time.
Mhm.
They can actually figure out based on that, on the type of decomposition of the body, where it was, where it happened, or where it was originated at.
Yeah, it makes me think of, remember that the serial killer, the Iceman, that kept everybody in the freezer for years or however long, and then he like put them out to confuse
Oh, sure.
authorities.
You know what? When you say that, it reminds me of Dexter. I'm guessing that that's where they got the idea for
Mm.
the icebox killer. You've seen that show, right?
Yep. I don't like the spin-off, but the original, yeah, that's magic. And they have other facilities in other parts of the world as well. The first one opened in Australia, and they have it in Canada, Netherlands. And in the UK, they use a lot more animals like pigs because of their close anatomy to humans.
Yeah.
And at the body farms, taphonomic research is conducted. Like I said, it's everything that happens from when the person dies to when it's discovered. So it's like after you die, your heart stops beating, you stop breathing, and then you get pallor mortis or paleness of death. And that's when your capillary circulation throughout the body stops. So the blood flow just stops and you look paler.
Hmm.
And then there's liver mortis, which is the blood pooling on the part of your body that's
Usually
like
the back.
lower to the ground. So if you're laying on your back,
Hmm.
yeah, you'd have that pool in your back. But if you were laying on your stomach, but the pooling was on your back,
Ah.
you can tell that that body was moved. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, nice.
And then they have algor mortis, which is the coldness.
Hmm.
It's, after death, your body has a steady decline of temperature. But like you said, environment can change that humidity, temperature,
Yeah, exactly.
being in a freezer, that would all change all of that.
Damn.
And they have rigor mortis, which I think everyone knows, the stiffening of limbs.
Yeah, yeah, you get all crunchy. Dying is just so not pretty. Jesus.
Well, that's probably the best part. Like, not the best, but that's the most stomachable part. Because then when decomposition
Oh,
begins and like the putrefaction, when your proteins split and the microbial decomposition and your organs have this liquefaction
oh,
process that like eats itself and like all that gas
yeah,
releases and this, the strong,
yeah,
if you
yeah,
know the odor
yeah.
of death, you know
I've
the odor
smelled
of
dead
death.
dogs often, so I'm guessing it's the same thing.
Yeah, when it's a smell, once you smell it, you can never forget it.
Oh God.
Um, and then there's decomposition. It's when the dead organic substances start to break down into
Yeah, yeah.
carbon dioxide, water, you know what I mean? And then it goes on to skeletonization, which when the skin and tissue, everything has just like fallen off because there's like skin slippage or it dries off. So then you just have the bone left and then you're at fossilization. I told you this was a nice episode.
And then, beautiful. And then there's also mummification, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's something that they can study as well at these facilities, which is so crazy. It's like so cringy,
Right.
but so important at the
That is
same
crazy
time.
because okay, so who is that? I know that there's a religious person that is she's in a casket. I forgot who it was. Sia. I know that there's some biblical character that she's still like very well preserved, and you can actually go see her. I want to see in Italy, in Rome. I need to look that up. Yeah, she's still very well preserved. Let me look this up. And I want to know, how is that possible? Okay, yeah, Saint Bernadette remains were preserved upon initial exhumption. Yeah, I guess it was Saint Bernadette. And I want to who was that she died I think she's also has also been preserved.
When I think of preserved, I only think of Walt Disney. But at these facilities, they study like how it's all broken down and how it's affected, and they can help narrow down a time of death. And they see like in the elements or out in like the woods or the forest or wherever, certain animals and rodents, how long it takes to get that they're drawn to the body. They study like how rats chew the bones, and after that, the squirrels go in, I guess, once they get it. And it's a good indicator if the squirrels are getting at the body, it's been there at least a year because they try to get in there for the calcium, and that helps them have good litters. Another thing that helps with the information part is that with donated bodies, these people give their information, like their lifestyle, their medical issues, what they've done, you know what I mean? And the way that they take larger, smaller, heavier, thinner individuals, they get this wide array of information. There's 8 of them in the US now. But they're so hard to get information on. Like you go on their web, everything's so vague and you can't really get on, like you can't go and tour. There's a lot of pictures online about the on the farms too. And I do think it's so cool how in not cool, but interesting how in the different environments, there's such a drastic change. Like, in cooler environments, it slows it down, but the difference that the sunlight makes, how it speeds up the process. But the fact that they could take into account, like, oh, if the body's buried above ground or just, if it's buried above ground, if the body is buried underground or placed, above ground. And they even use like, they'll do different puncture marks or metals to see like how the coins, like brass, silver, like how they would affect and how they would show and what it would look like. And it shows like the environmental effects of what the soil would look like after the body's buried there, like how grass and other plants near it react to human remains. Like if it's a dead body, it may kill all of this, all the brush near it. And then they have a lot of etymology studies, like the insects, the bug activity in the area of a corpse, and it can tell a lot on how long a body's been there. Like insects have life cycles that can be tracked. You know what I mean? You know how long a fly lives. Because when the body dies, not long after, flies enter through, I hate this, all orifices like nose, ears, whatever, within a day. And they'll start laying eggs, which hatch within a few hours, which are maggots. And then the maggots just start eating the body. So by seeing the size of the maggot, it can help narrow down a timeline. And what's so bad is I looked up like how much a maggot could eat of a human, and it said it can eat like 60% within 10 days. Not one individual, like groups of maggots. There's so many bugs that come, and they come at different stages of decomposition, like the green bottle flies, the black blowflies, the flesh flies, and they can see which bugs are around the body. And this can help, again, shorten the timeline of trying to determine when a person started decomposing or what stage they're at. But yeah, like I said, with the vegetation, they can see how the body affects the plant life around the corpse. It help finding other bodies or seeing how the vegetation's affected, because when a person expires, nitrogen's released, which kills off a lot of plants around them, like grass, whatever vegetation near the body. So this could help find another missing person, you know what I mean? And it's astounding the list of people that these facilities already have ready to be donated when they pass. But these facilities help with better understanding of how to find buried bodies, what to look for near them, how long a person's been deceased, and helps investigators narrow down a time frame when a person has died. And they've helped solve numerous cases, bringing closure to loved ones of the deceased. But for most communities, there has been quite a bit of reluctance to have one in their area for fear of an animal grabbing a body part and bringing it in their yard, or the smells or but I mean, a lot of them have rectified this by putting like closed fences around them. It is a creepy idea, but these volunteers that offer their body do help the family get answers, as well as doing other sorts of research like cancer research on the bones. It's like a really important but uncomfortable program. It's an odd topic. And they're so, like, close-lipped about it too. Like, if you wanted to look into any of these, it's really hard to I mean, you can find a few pictures online, and you can go on to each college that has one's website and get a very brief synopsis, but that's about it. But there are a few good books out there. I should have Death's Acre was written by Dr. Bill Bass, the one that actually started it, like, this was his brainchild. And there's a lot of really interesting stories. He goes into like why he started it and like some of the cases that he was stumped on because they didn't have this information. I think there was one where he found like give me one second. I can't find it. But he in the book he basically like he goes over a lot of why he started it. He had a lot of cases that he dealt with where a Civil War body was way too preserved. So he thought that somebody swapped the body, but it was actually still the same one, but it was preserved so well that it looked like a fresh body. It's a very interesting read if you're into that sort of thing. He realized that there was this big lack of information for law enforcement, for forensics, for everybody on bodies and their decomposition. Each one is so different, but they have like certain aspects that they zone in on, which is cool. Like I said, like some of them are more bone, some even use the ashes and then will like cremate the body and then do things with the cremations. With the ashes? With the ashes. What's sick is I think of, do you remember My Strange Addiction? I don't know if you ever watched that show. It's such a trash show and I love it. And this woman kept eating her husband's ashes, but it was sad but sick at the same time. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got on the body farms. Thank you so much for coming on, Daisy. And
Absolutely, girl.
thank you, everybody, for listening. Until next time. Bye.
Thank you for listening. If you need more content or just want to help support the podcast, head on over to patreon.com and search Ouch, Was That a Ghost? If you need some snazzy merch, you can find it at crowdmade.com by searching Ouch, Was That a Ghost? If you have a story you'd like to share, you can email it to ouchwasthataghost@yahoo.com. You can also find us on Facebook and all the other social media platforms under Ouch, Was That a Ghost?
Help me.
All links can also be found on ouchwasthataghost.com.